What if I told you that behind Monaco's most powerful billionaire, there's someone even more mysterious, a woman who rules in silence? They call him Zeus, the man who reshaped Monte Carlo's skyline in gold and glass, but hidden behind his empire is a presence few have seen and none can forget. She moves through the Hôtel de Paris like a secret written in diamonds, a glance, a nod, a single word that can shift $1 million deal. No tabloids, no scandals, no spotlight, yet every decision that strengthens Zeus's fortune seems to echo her will. In a country built on luxury, she redefines what power looks like. Her code is elegance, her strategy is silence, her empire invisible but unstoppable. Tonight, we lift the curtain on the hidden queen, the woman whose influence bends Monaco's richest circles and whose secrets even Zeus protects. Stay with us, and don't forget to like this video, subscribe to Inside the Billionaires, and hit the bell, because by the end, you'll see why even Monaco's king must answer to her. Every story in Monaco begins with a rumor, but this one began with a whisper that refused to die. It started one quiet evening at Café de Paris. The glow of chandeliers danced on crystal glasses, and outside, the hum of supercars echoed down Casino Square. Three powerful men, a banker from London, a royal advisor from Paris, and a Dubai tycoon, spoke in low voices about a woman none of them had ever met, yet all of them feared. They called her the Silent Queen. They said she appeared only in the background, at auctions, charity galas, and yacht events, never under a spotlight, but always within reach of power. Her influence was invisible, yet undeniable. When she wanted something, Monaco seemed to rearrange itself overnight. Companies shifted direction. Deals vanished. Others rose from nowhere. Even Zeus, the man who never answered to anyone, started making decisions no one could explain. Who was she? Some believed she owned half the harbor. Others whispered she managed fortunes for Europe's royal families. But no records, no signatures, no photographs, nothing existed except traces of movement, like footprints erased by the tide. Rumor has it that one night, during a private charity auction, Zeus himself paused mid-bid, not because of what he saw, but because of who entered the room. No words were spoken, just a glance, and from that moment, everything about Monaco's balance of power quietly changed. People say every empire has a hidden architect. Maybe. She was his. And that whisper, the one that started over champagne and shadows, would soon evolve into a legend written not in gold, but in silence. Stay tuned, because next, we'll uncover the Queen's Code, the rules she lives by, and how they became the blueprint of Zeus's empire. Every empire has a doctrine. For Zeus, it was wealth. For her, it was precision. Those who studied her patterns realized she lived by an invisible code, not written on paper, but etched in every move she made. People called it the Queen's Code. Rule 1: never be predictable. While others chased attention, she mastered invisibility. Each appearance felt accidental, yet perfectly timed. One evening at the Monaco Yacht Club, she might appear in shimmering white, the next week in simple black at a private gallery, leaving everyone unsure which version was real. Rule 2: speak less, decide faster. Witnesses say she never raised her voice. She would listen, tilt her head slightly, and entire negotiations would turn in her favor without a word. Zeus himself once delayed a merger until she gave a single nod, a gesture worth more than any signature. Rule 3: control the perception, not the people. She didn't command, she calibrated. A misplaced compliment here, a subtle delay there. And suddenly, billion-dollar investors aligned with her vision without realizing who guided them. Rumor claims she designed this code long before meeting Zeus, a blueprint built from observing how men of power destroyed themselves by revealing too much. To her, control wasn't domination, it was restraint. Late one night, in a penthouse overlooking Port Hercule, a confidant once asked how she managed to win every silent battle. She smiled and answered softly, "Because I never fight for attention, only for outcome." That single sentence became the mantra whispered among Monaco's elite women who wanted to be like her and feared becoming her. But even the most perfect code can be broken. And when Zeus finally tested the boundaries of her rules, Monaco's silent balance began to tremble. Stay with us. In the next chapter, we'll uncover the night Zeus met the queen, and how one encounter redefined who truly ruled the Riviera. Every legend has a moment when fate quietly enters the room. For Zeus, that moment began on a winter evening inside the grand ballroom of Hôtel de Paris, a charity auction so private that even the guest list was treated like classified intel. The air shimmered with perfume and power. Billionaires bid on art as if purchasing fragments of immortality. Zeus, already the most talked-about man in the Riviera, stood near a painting rumored to cost more than a penthouse. He lifted his glass, unbothered, until the doors opened, and time seemed to hesitate. She walked in. No introduction, no entourage, just the echo of her heels on marble. Every head turned without knowing why. She didn't look at Zeus, not even once. Yet in that silence, something passed between them, an understanding too sharp to be chance. Minutes later, the auction began. Zeus raised his paddle, but so did she. $12 million for a single painting. It wasn't the artwork that mattered. It was the message. She matched him, stroke for stroke, in front of Monaco's entire elite, and won. Witnesses recall that after the final bid, she simply smiled, then offered the piece back to the foundation. A gesture of control disguised as grace. Zeus applauded, but his eyes followed her as she left. That night, every headline spoke of the record sale. Yet behind the scenes, Monaco whispered about the spark that ignited something far greater than rivalry. No contract bound them, no public alliance was declared. But after that evening, Zeus's empire began to shift. Quieter deals, bolder moves, and decisions that carried a touch of her precision. Some say that was the moment he stopped ruling alone. Others believe it was the night he met his equal. Because in Monaco, true power doesn't begin with thunder, it begins with a look. Stay tuned. In the next part, we'll unveil the secret empire. How her invisible network quietly intertwined with Zeus's fortune, shaping the destiny of Monaco's richest circle. They say the greatest power is the one nobody notices. And for years, Monaco's billionaires were unknowingly playing inside her game. After that night at Hôtel de Paris, Zeus's empire began to grow, but not in ways people could explain. New companies appeared under unfamiliar names. Private holdings in art, shipping, and luxury real estate multiplied. On paper, everything still belonged to Zeus. But beneath the signatures, every path traced back to her. She never owned anything publicly. Instead, she built through trust, invisible partnerships, layered investments, offshore ventures registered in cities where silence was currency. Insiders whispered that she could shift millions with a phone call, and yet she never raised her voice. The Queen's Code had become Monaco's operating system. What made her different wasn't the money, it was her precision. While others bought yachts, she bought the companies that serviced them. When billionaires purchased penthouses, she quietly acquired the security firms that guarded their doors. Every luxury in Monaco, every show of wealth, somehow connected to her invisible network. Even Zeus seemed to move in harmony with her rhythm. When he expanded his holdings into aviation and private banking, she was already there, owning the logistics, shaping the regulations, ensuring that his empire rested on foundations she controlled. People began to notice patterns. Every public success of Zeus was mirrored by a quiet acquisition under her shadow. The world saw him as the king. But the insiders of Monte Carlo knew, no empire stands alone. Some called it partnership. Others called it genius. But there were a few who whispered a different word, dependency. Because when your power depends on someone who doesn't need the spotlight, who truly holds the crown. Stay with us, because in the next part, we'll decode her style, her signal. How she used elegance and fashion not as decoration, but as the secret language of control. In Monaco, fashion isn't just appearance, it's communication. And for the hidden queen, Every outfit was a message only the powerful could read. When she appeared, the room shifted. A single glance at her attire could predict what was about to happen in the markets, in art, even in Zeus's next business move. Her style wasn't about luxury, it was strategy. At the Monaco Yacht Show, she once arrived in an all-white ensemble with a single sapphire pin. The next week, Zeus's firm quietly acquired a marine logistics company marked by the same sapphire blue emblem. Coincidence? Hardly. Those who understood her symbols learned to follow her colors more than the stock charts. Haute couture became her code. Designers tailored for her without knowing what she planned to say through their work. A black velvet gown meant retreat. Gold silk hinted at expansion. Silver details signaled alignment with Zeus's next move. She never made announcements. Her wardrobe did it for her. Even her jewelry carried intention. A diamond bracelet might represent victory. A missing ring could mean an empire was shifting hands. Every detail was deliberate, every silence calculated. She turned fashion into an art of silent influence, and Monaco's elite learned to study her the way investors study trends. Zeus himself once admitted privately that when she changed her style, he changed his strategy. Her silence speaks faster than headlines, he said. And in that confession, Monaco discovered the quiet truth. Control doesn't always roar. Sometimes it shimmers. But one evening, at a royal gala in Monte Carlo, she broke her own pattern. She arrived wearing something no one had ever seen before, a design so unlike her that it froze even Zeus in place. Was it a signal of betrayal? Or the start of her next game? Stay tuned, because next, we reveal the hidden rivalries. The untold stories of Monaco's most powerful women and how they tried, and failed, to dethrone the queen. Power attracts company and competition. Once her empire's reach became undeniable, Monaco's other elite women began to notice. Models turned investors, heiresses of old fortunes, and even a few royal bloodlines quietly compared themselves to her. They studied her silence, tried to mimic her style, even hired the same stylists and advisors, hoping a trace of her aura might transfer. But imitation is never influence. One evening during the summer gala season, a newcomer arrived, a young billionaire heiress whose family had ruled parts of the Riviera's fashion world for decades. She entered dressed like a mirror image of the queen, same tone, same jewels. The press thought it flattery. Insiders knew it was challenge. For hours, their eyes never met, yet the air in that ballroom thickened like a storm waiting to break. The queen didn't speak, didn't react. She simply lifted her glass and smiled. Small, calm, precise. By morning, the rival's new venture suddenly lost half its investors. No one connected the dots, but everyone understood the message. Monaco has room for many millionaires, but only one silent ruler. Still, envy doesn't vanish. It reorganizes. Alliances formed in whispers. Women of wealth who believed together they could balance her power. They hosted private gatherings, funding each other's charities, plotting subtle moves across art, real estate, and luxury media. Yet every initiative somehow drifted back into her orbit. It was as if she anticipated every plan before it began. Zeus, ever the observer, watched from a distance. To him, rivalry among the elite wasn't danger. It was proof of her dominance. The more they tried to replace her, the deeper she rooted herself into Monaco's hierarchy. But power built on elegance hides a fragility no one sees until it trembles. And in the coming winter, one unexpected betrayal from within her own circle would test whether silence could still hold an empire together. Stay tuned, because next, we reveal the unspoken pact, the mysterious bond between Zeus and the queen, and how love, loyalty, and strategy became indistinguishable inside Monaco's golden cage. Every empire needs balance. For Zeus and the queen, that balance wasn't written in contracts or sealed with signatures, it lived in silence. No one ever confirmed what tied them together. Was it partnership, loyalty, or something deeper that no language could define? All Monaco knew was that when one moved, the other adjusted, as if their decisions were part of the same heartbeat. They were rarely seen together, yet their presence always overlapped. When Zeus attended a summit in Geneva, she quietly sponsored an art exhibition in the same city. When he launched a new investment fund, her charities expanded into the same region. Nothing was coincidental. Everything was symphonic. Those close to them spoke of a rule: never interfere, never announce. They didn't need to meet to communicate. A gesture, a glance across a crowded event, was enough. Some say Zeus carried a single sapphire coin she once gave him, using it as his compass in every decision. Others believe she guided him through silence alone, an unspoken pact more powerful than any alliance Monaco had ever seen. Yet, behind perfection lies tension. As their empires expanded, so did the pressure from outsiders, investors, politicians, even rivals who tried to fracture what they didn't understand. Rumors began to swirl. Was Zeus still in control? Or had the queen become the architect behind every move he made? One evening, at a private reception in Cap Ferrat, Zeus was asked directly about her influence. He paused, smiled faintly, and replied, "There's no influence, only alignment." It was a simple sentence, but to those who knew Monaco's code, it confirmed everything. They weren't partners in business, they were partners in power. But alliances built in silence are the hardest to protect, because once that silence breaks, the truth is louder than thunder. Stay until the end, because in the final part, we uncover the fall and the legacy, how their pact reshaped Monaco forever, and why the queen may have been preparing for something far greater than Zeus himself. Every dynasty faces a moment when silence turns into distance. For Zeus and the queen, that moment arrived not with betrayal, but with inevitability. The empire they built had grown too vast, too interconnected, a web so intricate that even they couldn't see where one ended and the other began. Her foundations lay beneath his success. His influence shielded her ambitions. But in Monaco, balance never lasts forever. It began subtly, a shift in the city's rhythm. Zeus stopped appearing at certain events. The queen's charitable foundations started to act independently, branching into new territories beyond the Riviera. Insiders whispered that it wasn't conflict, it was evolution. Perhaps their pact had served its purpose, and the next chapter required solitude. Then came the turning point, an international summit where Zeus unveiled a new venture, one completely outside the queen's network. That night, she was seen leaving the Hotel Hermitage before the speeches began. No anger, no farewell. Just the calm departure of someone who had already written the ending. Weeks later, financial circles buzzed with speculation. Assets quietly shifted hands, projects paused, and for the first time, Zeus faced questions without her guidance. Yet what followed wasn't collapse. It was transformation. The queen's influence lingered everywhere. In the structure of his companies, the way his executives negotiated, even in his silence during interviews. She had woven her legacy so deeply that even absence couldn't erase it. Monaco still operated by her rules: precision, restraint, control. The queen had not fallen. She had simply stepped beyond visibility, leaving an empire that now carried her imprint in every decision. Some say she retired to the hills of Provence. Others whisper she never left Monaco at all, just chose to exist in the spaces between attention and myth. But one truth remains: empires fade, symbols remain. And when the yachts glide through Port Hercule at sunset and the glass towers gleam gold under the Mediterranean sky, people still ask the same question: was Zeus the ruler of Monaco, or merely the echo of her design? In a world where power is loud, she chose silence, and that silence became her legacy. The queen may have vanished from Monaco's spotlight, but her influence never left. Every deal signed, every gala held, every whisper of wealth that circles the Riviera still carries the rhythm she created. Zeus may be remembered as the king who ruled Monaco, but history will always ask, who ruled him? Was it destiny, partnership, or the quiet brilliance of a woman who mastered control without needing recognition? Her story isn't about disappearance, it's about transformation. She became the myth that still shapes Monaco's golden skyline, the echo behind every powerful name, and the reminder that true influence doesn't need a stage. If you've enjoyed uncovering the world of the Hidden Queen, Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to Inside the Billionaires, and comment below. Do you think she's still watching over Monaco's empire? Or has she moved on to build another one, somewhere even richer? Because in Monaco, legends never end. They just learn to stay unseen. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next episode.